Hey and welcome! In this series I am doing a deep dive in certain heritage ship cosmetics that are available for Sea of Thieves. Aside from just looking beautiful, quite a few of them are inspired by past rare video games. In this video we will have a look at one of my favorite ship cosmetics, which is the Royal Sea Squirrel ship. This skin is based on the Conker franchise, so before we take a look at the ship parts, it might be smart to have a look into the past of this video game franchise first. So let's do that. Most people know Conker by its most famous game, Conker's Bad Fur Day, but I thought it fitting to first take a look at the very first game he made an appearance in, and that is Diddy Kong Racing. Originally, this game was going to star Timber the Tiger as the main protagonist, but Nintendo was like, hey, do you want to make more money? Cause you can totally use Diddy Kong as the main character. And Rare was like, yeah, we like money. So they changed the name from Pro M64 to Diddy Kong Racing, and history was made, and they also made a lot of money. Diddy Kong wasn't the only character in that game, of course. Banjo also made its debut, as well as, of course, Conker. Conker was still an innocent squirrel in this racing game, and his own 3D platformer was already in development well before Diddy Kong Racing released. Its original title was Conker's Quest, and later got renamed as 12 Tales Conker 64. Because, putting 64 in your title was like super original back then. With this name swap, the developers also got a better idea of all the different settings Conker's adventure would take him through. But most importantly though, there were different hats for each one.
Who doesn't love different hats?
All the footage shown on the screen right now is footage from Rare's own archive, which, as a fan, pleases me greatly. A lot of work went into giving the characters really expressive faces, and had Conker and his girlfriend Barry visibly reacting to the situations they found themselves in. Conker used his slingshot just like in Conker's Pocket Tales for the Game Boy, but Barry's gameplay was more focused on befriending different critters. The game went into hibernation when the team decided it needed to take on a new angle in order to compete with the growing 3D platformers, including their own very successful Banjo-Kazooie. I always feel a little sad that I will never be able to play the original version of this game, but what the team made next is one of my favorite games of all time, so I shouldn't complain all that much. Conker's Bad Fur Day was released at the end of the N64's lifespan. Its main joke being that all these cute platform critters behave not so friendly and not so nice anymore.
Come down here, I'll show him what the type is, I'll show him where to stuff it. Stupid all I do all day is try to sort his stupid problems out of the asshole. I hate that.
Conker's design changed a bit and became even more expressive than before. The design of Barry is the one that changed the most. But in Conker's Pocket Tales they still use her old design, confusing Conker fans all over the world. Aside from the funny writing, the game offers a wide array of gameplay styles. One moment you are a bat collecting victims for your vampire ancestor, and the next you are dropped into the squirrel version of D-Day. I always like to compare this game to Alice in Wonderland, because just like Alice, Conker gets thrown from one weird setting to the next without even fully realizing how he got there in the first place. This game also got a remake for the original Xbox called Live and Reloaded. Audio-wise, this is the best version, but most players seem to stick with the original, since some of the cursing isn't censored and nostalgia probably plays a part too.
I thought the designer said this was just a straight port. What a hack.
Me personally, I don't give a f about cursing being censored. To me, it's just as funny either way. Sadly, it does mess up the rhyming of the Great Mighty Pooh opera section. Yeah, you heard that right.
How about some scat, you little toad?
And the remake also offers some smoother gameplay in certain places, like shooting the Nazi teddy bears. Again, you heard that right. Honestly, I can talk forever about this game, but just either try the original Xbox version, which will work on your Xbox One, or play the original in HD through Rare Replay, which is also on Game Pass. And if you like shoving boxes to solve puzzles, you can always try out Conker's Pocket Tales for the Game Boy. Like honestly, this game is like 50% shoving boxes. Conker also made some other appearances here and there, but nothing I consider to be part of the mainline Conker series. Again, I can talk hours upon hours about these games, but I like my videos to be to the point, so let's have a look at the ship. The name of this cosmetic is the Royal Sea Squirrel set. This name is easy to explain. At the end of Conker's Bad Fur Day, Conker becomes king of all the land.
Long live the king!
Long live the king!
Yeah, long live the king!
Will you stop to beat me?
I've not beat him.
This name also explains the use of the more regal colors like the deep red and the use of gold you see all over the ship. The use of blue is probably done because Conker is usually depicted wearing a blue shirt or sweater. So let's go over the ship parts one by one, beginning with the hull. I already touched upon the colors, but the pattern is obviously made to replicate the throne upon which Conker was sitting on. The same pattern is also used more noticeably for the wheel. The description of the hull reads, "A colorful, fine hull paint that looks regal from the yardarm to the mighty poop deck." Just to clarify, a yardarm is a horizontal bar on the mast, and the poop deck is the deck that forms the roof of the cabin, and it actually has nothing to do with poop. The description, however, is a reference to the barnyard and mighty poo levels from Bad Fur Day. The wheel has a crown and an acorn. The acorn was the live bar of Conker's Pocket Tales and the unreleased Conker 64, and I think the symbolism of putting a crown above it is pretty self-explanatory. This crowned acorn can also be found on the capstan, where the entire capstan itself is shaped like an acorn. The description of the wheel reads, "No matter how sober you were before, this wheel always seems to steer you towards an open tavern." This is probably a reference to Conker getting drunk again at the end of Bad Fur Day, at the same tavern his adventure began. And the description of the capstan reads, "Spins around as easily as a leaping squirrel's tail, according to dubious drunken sightings." The spinning of the tail is a move Conker can perform to hover a bit in the air.
Then press A again to do that funny helicopter tail thing.
He first uses this move shortly after encountering a drunken scarecrow, so this could be the drunken sighting the description talks about. Or, I could be looking too far into this, but hey, that's part of the fun. First, I thought the cannons were logs, but they are made of individual planks, which could be a hint to Mr. Barrel, but I'm not sure. They obviously have a crown as well, and I like the way they integrated this with the views of the cannons. That's pretty clever. And when you look at the butt of the cannon, this is also an acorn. Just like the side, and even the wheels have a little acorn on them. You could say they really went nuts with this design. Yeah, no, I'm not funny. The description of the cannon reads, "These make short work of weasels, goblins and bears." Oh my. And this is an easy one, since the most common enemies in Bad Fur Day are weasels, goblins and of course Nazi teddy bears. The figurehead depicts a red squirrel holding some grog. And of course Conker is a red squirrel, while his girlfriend is actually a grey squirrel. That might be one of the reasons why they have trouble getting along. The description reads, "This depicts a rather regal rascal, clearly fond of a grog but always coming out on top." The collector's figurehead adds some more movement to the grog and makes the colors a bit more popping. Also notice that the eyes have this bright blue glow to them. Obviously this is done because Conker himself has blue eyes. The description of the special figurehead reads, "When your tankard runs over with foaming grog, you, sir, are a king among squirrels and men." And the description of both these figureheads are so obvious that I won't even bother explaining it. Next up are the sails. These depict two tankards with a crown above them, with the collector's sails adding some more golden embellishment. The description of the normal sails read, The crown and tankers encourage drinking with dignity. Or is it drinking with stolen jewelry? Again, another obvious one, but it is worthy to note that Conker does drink some scotch while wearing his crown at the end of Bad Fur Day.
Whoa there, cowboy. Keep it coming.
The description of the collector's sales read, legends say that the story of a squirrel becoming king all took place on one very bad day. Which is true. Conker does fall asleep at one point and wakes up during the night. But during the rest of the game it is still nighttime, making this game last about 24 hours. In squirrel time, of course. And finally we have the acorn flag. Its description reads, the heraldry here tells every pirate that you hoard your loot like a squirrel hoards acorns. See? This might actually be a reference to Conker's Pocket Tales, where you collect acorns as a means to replenish your energy. As in conclusion, we can say that most of the references on this ship are connected to his most famous game, which was to be expected. They did put a lot of acorns in the ship, and as far as I can tell, I can't remember any acorns in Conker's Bad Fur Day. Acorns were way more on the foreground in Pocket Tales. I mean, the villain in that game is literally an evil acorn called the Evil Acorn. Yeah, you can't make this shit up. So thanks for watching my video. I hope it was fun to sit through while also being informative. A thumbs up is always appreciated. Let me know if I missed anything, because that is a possibility, and also let me know how you feel about this ship in the comments. Is it one of your favorites, or do you like one of the others better? Anyways, thanks for watching my stuff, and I wish you happy sailings, whether it be on an overpriced expensive ship set or not. Alright, see you in the next video and take care.
You still here?
Hey, thanks for watching the entire video. A like or subscribe is very much appreciated, and if you want to see more videos, there's some links right here. So thanks again and take care.